Hello, I'm Sophia, 35 years old, and I have an intriguing tale to share about a crucial moment in my life when I had to respond quickly, as I tend to be quite perceptive. Unlike many typical narratives, my relationship with my mother-in-law was wonderful. At first, our bond was seamless, filled with warmth and mutual regard, appearing flawless. My husband, Gerald, was my soulmate, partner in all adventures, and my closest confidant. From my perspective, our life together seemed perfect. It's essential to clarify that this isn't merely a product of my imagination. Sure, like any family, we had our disagreements, but there were no significant red flags. Everything seemed stable until an unexpected sequence of events occurred, leaving me utterly astounded. I'm here to recount this experience and explain why I felt compelled to seek retribution against both my husband and my mother-in-law. I had arranged something incredibly special for our family, a vacation initially intended just for Gerald and me. However, considering the loneliness of my widowed mother-in-law, Kayla, I decided to include her as well. I covered most of the expenses for the trip, including lodging, meals, and activities, while Gerald and Kayla only needed to handle their additional costs. I envisioned us embarking on a once-in-a-lifetime experience in Italy, strolling through the lively streets of Barcelona, enjoying antipasti, and basking in the Mediterranean sun. I was thrilled about creating unforgettable memories and deepening our connections. Little did I know that this grand adventure would lead to revelations that would shake my trust and disturb the idyllic image of our family. Returning to that fateful day, filled with hope and excitement for our Italian getaway, I stood in the living room, tickets in hand, beaming as I gathered Gerald and Kayla. Their bewildered expressions soon turned to curiosity. With a flair for drama, I unveiled the surprise, eagerly anticipating their joy and gratitude. Gerald's face lit up with genuine enthusiasm. "Sophia, you're absolutely incredible," he exclaimed. My heart swelled with anticipation as I looked forward to our extraordinary journey. Kayla, on the other hand, offered a softer smile, her wise eyes meeting mine. "Oh, my dear Sophia, you've truly outdone yourself. This is an immeasurable gift," she said warmly. "I'm profoundly moved," she continued. In that moment, I felt a rush of pride and happiness. Their responses validated the love and effort I had invested in planning this surprise. I envisioned the vacation as a means to strengthen our relationships, crafting unforgettable experiences that would reinforce our already strong bonds. Yet, as you might expect, our tale takes a dark turn. Beneath the surface of our seemingly perfect relationships lay a tangled web of deception and betrayal, ready to ensnare us all. When the truth emerged, it challenged the limits of forgiveness and the very essence of family. As planned, we boarded the plane, setting off on our highly anticipated adventure. The first week in Italy unfolded seamlessly as we immersed ourselves in the vibrant local culture, relished delicious jambalaya, explored historical landmarks, and danced to the lively rhythms of flamenco. Laughter and joy were abundant, and I felt more convinced than ever that nothing could fracture our strong bond. However, unbeknownst to me, a storm was brewing, prepared to strike and shatter my unsuspecting heart. On a bright Monday morning, as golden light filled the city, I awoke alone in a vacant hotel room. A wave of confusion and anxiety washed over me as I frantically dialed both my husband's and Kayla's numbers, hoping for a response, but there was only silence. Their voices were conspicuously absent. Panic began to creep in as I searched the empty room for any indication of where they might be. No notes, no luggage, nothing to suggest their whereabouts, just an eerie stillness that felt heavy in the air. I felt forsaken in a foreign land, with each passing minute stretching into what felt like eternity. Just as despair threatened to engulf me, a flicker of hope emerged. My phone buzzed with an incoming call from Kayla. A mix of relief, confusion, and hurt surged within me. How could she have left without a word? With a shaking hand, I answered the call, my voice laced with worry and disbelief. "Kayla, where are you? What's going on?" I asked urgently. Kayla's voice came through, marked by resignation and frustration, amplifying the strangeness of the situation. However, the tone on the other end was not the familiar warmth I expected. It felt distinctly colder. "Sophia, I felt I had to return your call since my phone wouldn't stop ringing," she replied. "Oh, I apologize for interrupting," I said, my voice filled with genuine concern. "I was just worried when I realized you both were gone and your bags weren't here. I feared something terrible had occurred." Her next words, delivered with a chilling indifference, shook me to my core. "We left you. But why? What happened? Did I do something to upset you?" I asked, bewildered. "Yes, honestly, how could you not see it? You just planned this trip and assumed I'd be fine being dragged along. I couldn't keep pretending, she explained, her tone sharp and unyielding. Let me be very clear. I don't relish spending time in your company. A few hours at a family event is manageable, but 3 weeks? I attempted to endure it, to offer you my presence for as long as possible. It turns out, I could only last a week, before feeling like I was losing my sanity. I'm sorry, but Gerald and I are currently en route to the airport. We can't be around you any longer. The shock struck me like a lightning bolt, unraveling the fabric of trust one had foolishly woven. How could our seemingly strong bond collapse under the burden of these unexpressed grievances? My thoughts raced with questions. What had I done wrong? How did it escalate to this point? Was there no hope for mending our relationship? Confusion and heartache intertwined within me, with the sting of betrayal sinking deep into my heart. I had no idea you felt this way, Kayla, I replied, my voice trembling. You had no reason to think I assumed everything was fine. Why didn't you mention this sooner? Why not sit down with me so we could discuss any concerns honestly? I still can't grasp what I did to offend you. That's just it, Sophia, I can't pinpoint it either, she confessed, her tone a blend of frustration and resignation. You simply irritate me. Her words hit me like a ton of bricks. What? That's incredibly immature, I shot back, unable to mask my disbelief. You can't stand me just because I annoy you with something you can't even articulate? Kayla, you need to mature. I thought I had genuinely upset you, but it sounds like there's nothing specific I've done wrong, right? Not exactly, but that doesn't change my feelings. You frustrate me, Sophia, and I just can't stand being around you, she stated bluntly. If that's truly how you feel, then why agree to join us on this trip? I pressed, still trying to comprehend the situation. Because it was a free trip to Italy. Who would turn that down? But with each passing day, I grew more and more irritated by your actions, she elaborated. What actions, Kayla? What did I do that was so awful you felt the need to leave me stranded in a foreign land? I insisted, seeking some kind of logical explanation. She hesitated, her silence deepening, which only intensified my frustration. This sudden contempt seemed to spring from nowhere, leaving me shocked, hurt, bewildered, and angry. Above all, I felt profoundly saddened. Desperate for answers, I asked to speak with my husband, Gerald. Perhaps he could provide clarity on the situation. Kayla casually handed the phone to Gerald, as if she assumed he had been eavesdropping on our entire conversation. When he spoke, his tone mirrored his mother's indifference. Hey, Gerald, you decided to leave me too? I asked, disbelief lacing my voice. I didn't leave because I dislike you. I left because my mother needed me to take her home, Gerald replied flatly. So you were aware of all of this? How long have you known about your mother's feelings toward me? For a while now. I was hoping this trip would help her feel closer to you, but clearly, I was wrong, he admitted. Why didn't either of you talk to me about this? We're adults. If there's a problem, we should be able to communicate and resolve it. It's not like we haven't navigated disagreements before. What makes this situation different? I asked, searching for some sense in their actions. Gerald remained silent, echoing the quiet I had received from his mother earlier. The only conclusion I could draw from this bewildering situation was that his mother disliked me for reasons even she might not fully grasp. Perhaps she felt envious, or maybe I represented something she believed she couldn't attain. As her vague justifications filled the air, I couldn't help but think she avoided confrontation to prevent sounding absurd. Am I correct in assuming you're dodging the real issues here? I inquired. The silence that followed seemed to confirm my suspicions. I'm honestly taken aback. It's shocking to learn that you both feel this way about me, I expressed, still processing the unexpected revelation. I hope you have a safe trip home. With that, I ended the call and began pacing the hotel room, my thoughts racing to make sense of it all. 35 years of life had taught me that sometimes people harbor ill feelings without clear reasoning, often driven by envy or bitterness. What I hadn't anticipated was encountering such sentiments from my own family. As the tears flowed, I experienced a profound realization. It was a moment of clarity where I decided to seize control of my destiny and seek revenge against those who had wronged me without justification, a pivotal moment that would alter the course of my life forever. Wiping my tears, a newfound determination surged within me. I refused to let their disregard for my feelings go unchallenged. It was time to show them that they couldn't trample on my heart without facing consequences. With trembling hands, I dialed my childhood friend Nathan's number. He was someone I could confide in about my deepest secrets. After sharing the painful details of the betrayal, I tentatively asked for his assistance in my quest for justice. Nathan, ever the loyal and slightly mischievous friend, listened with a blend of concern and excitement. Sophia, my dear, you're a force to be reckoned with. You know you can count on me for anything, so what's the plan? Well, Nathan, you know how your construction company always has excess sawdust? It's such a hassle to get rid of, I began, piquing his curiosity. Yeah, that stuff is a nuisance, he acknowledged, intrigued. I think I've found the perfect use for it. My voice was steady as I laid out my plan. Like a screenwriter crafting a crucial scene, we would deliver bags of sawdust to Kayla's house, making sure it invaded every corner, a chaotic and unforgettable reminder of her betrayal. Nathan couldn't help but grin at the ingenuity of the plan, his mind racing as he envisioned the scene. Excitement coursed through me, fueling my sense of satisfaction at the cleverness of my scheme. This would serve as a subtle yet impactful reminder to Kayla of the chaos she had caused in my life. With Nathan's expertise and my newfound determination, we began executing our plan. The immediate obstacle was gaining entry into their house before their return. Just use the spare key under the potted plant on the patio, and you'll be all set, I advised. Wow, you've thought this through, Nathan remarked, clearly impressed. I usually approach things rationally, but if they're going to be petty, I'm prepared to one-up them, I declared, feeling a mix of justification and mischief. As time passed, my anticipation mounted. Eventually, Nathan texted to say our mission was complete. I was eager to see the repercussions of our carefully crafted scheme. Then, like a sweet tune, my phone pinged with a message from Nathan. I opened the pictures he sent and was greeted by a stunning sight. Kayla's previously pristine home was now transformed into a chaotic mess, buried under a mountain of sawdust. Every corner bore the marks of our playful havoc, a tangible reminder of the turmoil she had imposed on my life. I called Nathan, and his laughter resonated through the phone, infectious enough to make me chuckle along. It was a moment of catharsis, a shared victory over those who had wronged us. Being a little mischievous can feel so rewarding, my friend, he laughed, and I expressed my heartfelt gratitude for his adventurous spirit in this escapade. As time dragged on, the anticipation of their reaction became almost unbearable. I could easily picture the shock on Gerald and Kayla's faces as they stepped into their once beloved home, now a monument to their betrayal. It was a thrilling blend of anxiety and vindication. Hours later, my phone buzzed urgently, jolting me from my thoughts. It was Gerald, his voice tinged with panic and disbelief as he described the mess awaiting them. The house, now shrouded in sawdust, was a bold testament to their betrayal. My heart fluttered with malicious joy as I listened to his frustrated descriptions. At that moment, I realized my message had been delivered loud and clear. Their actions had consequences, and the chaos they had caused was now returning to haunt them. Sophia, it's a disaster. My mother-in-law is absolutely frantic, Gerald conveyed, his voice strained. It was then that I decided to reveal my involvement. Good for you both. How could you just leave me behind without any valid reason? I asserted firmly. Sophia, was this your doing? The background commotion came to a halt. Then I heard Kayla's voice demanding the phone. Give me that, she shouted into the receiver. How could you do this to us? To me? I have no idea what you're talking about, I replied. Have you ever considered that this might just be karma? I said coolly. Oh, come on, Sophia, we all know it was you. Who else could have accessed my home? Kayla shot back, her voice laced with accusation. It's surprisingly easy to break into homes these days, especially without security cameras. By the way, you might want to think about installing some to avoid situations like this in the future, I suggested, hardly concealing my satisfaction. Sophia, how could you do this? Where are we supposed to sleep? This sawdust is everywhere and making me cough, she complained. Oh, that's unfortunate. You probably forgot I had the keys to my house, didn't you? That's a pity. Looks like you two will need to find another hotel to stay at. But how long will that be? Until I decide to come back from my trip? I did pay for 3 weeks. After all, who knows? I might even feel like extending my vacation. Gerald then snatched the phone from Kayla, who resumed her lament over her damaged furniture. Sophia, this was disgraceful. How could you do this? I don't see why you think I had anything to do with it. How could I? I'm currently relaxing in the hotel jacuzzi. How could I possibly pull that off? I replied, feigning ignorance. I struggled to hold back laughter as they grappled with confusion, clearly suspecting my involvement without any concrete proof. I reveled in their frustration, knowing they couldn't pinpoint their anger at me. As I concluded the call with Gerald, a wave of satisfaction swept over me. I had taken back control of my story, leaving them to deal with the aftermath of their actions. I recognized that what I did was quite extreme and potentially hazardous, especially given Kayla's age. Spending even a single night in that house could lead to serious health concerns. However, I was confident they wouldn't dare stay there. The place was far too compromised to be livable. They'd have to find a hotel for a while longer. Not wanting my money to go to waste, I decided to extend my stay in Italy for another week, soaking in the culture just as I had intended. Meanwhile, my husband and mother-in-law were likely scrambling to find a cleaning service willing to tackle the daunting task of restoring their home. I wasn't sure how long it would take to have the house professionally cleaned, but I knew my mother-in-law would inevitably end up staying at my place, which would surely irritate her, given her dislike for my company. This situation should serve as a lesson that sometimes, people need to learn the hard way. If you find yourself in a position to deliver your own brand of justice, then go ahead and do so. Give them a real reason to be upset. Sometimes, the only way to make your point clear is to take bold, decisive action, even if it stirs the pot. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again in the next video. Stay stunned.